So went to Mass here today. First Mass I'm going again this evening, but went to Mass here today in Kielce Cathedral. Very, very beautiful. You can see the Bishop's Palace here. Hello. And you see the priests here still have an identity. They dress like priests. They wear the beretta. They make an effort to show that they're priests. And one of the most amazing things that I saw in at Mass today was everybody knelt and received communion on the tongue. The universal norm of the Catholic Church, obviously, because Pope John Paul II hated communion on the hand. He didn't encourage it, and so the Polish kept this beautiful tradition of receiving communion on the tongue. Obviously, if you could kneel, they knelt. And it was amazing to see so many priests here, extraordinary ministers of the Holy Communion, because that is the ministry of the priest, is to be a minister of the Eucharist. That is his role. That is his calling. So, and I think if more priests rediscovered their vocation of what they're supposed to do, there would be less crisis in the priesthood and more faith, because as men we need to do what we're called to do, and to build up the church. Another thing I thought was very beautiful was the lines of confession. It almost looked like a traditional Latin Mass church, because only in traditional Latin Mass churches now do you have confession before Mass, it seems, because everywhere else it seems to have died away. And yeah, there's great faith here. There's great faith. There's problems everywhere, and I think the church will always face problems. It will always face issues, but it's beautiful to see the faith strong here, especially in the Eucharist. Once you lose faith in the Eucharist, it is the central point of the church. It is belief in our Lord Jesus Christ. How can the church have a mission if you can't encounter Christ? Can't encounter his body. It's not about just encountering him in your heart. Some people say, "Oh, you receive communion in your hand. It's important to receive him in your heart." Yes, it's important to receive him in your heart, but it's also important to respect the Eucharist, to see the body of our Lord respected, which is a beautiful tradition that we kept in the Catholic Church for years. Anyway, greetings here from Kielce, Holy Cross County and region in Poland, Świętokrzyskie, as they call it in Polish, on Divine Mercy Sunday. Bożego Miłosierdzia, the love of the heart of God, or Misericordia Dei in Latin. I don't think the Divine Mercy translation into English fully grasps Bożego Miłosierdzia in Polish, but because it's a more profound message than just the English translation sometimes. It was beautiful to see the Sacred Heart, because the Divine Mercy, it's Christ's Sacred Heart being poured out for us. So wasn't expecting to be in Poland today, wasn't expecting to see it, but I suppose our Lord wanted me here, and he wanted me to renew faith in the Eucharist, to call Catholics back, Roman Catholics back, to respect the Eucharist. Call us, but that was the only message. Respect. If we cannot encounter Christ on our knees for 5 seconds, what is this demonic push against encountering Christ on our knees for 5 seconds? Nobody can ever tell me, receive him in your heart. Why not receive him in your heart and on your knees? Why not that 5-second act of reverence for our Lord, to receive him on the tongue, kneeling, to renew Eucharist, to give that catechesis to our children? Because here in Poland, they don't farm it off to schools. It's all done in the parish. Faith formation is done in the parish. They were just saying after Mass, and we'll be meeting all the children doing their first Holy Communion. We'll be meeting here this afternoon. Faith formation is in faith communities. And that's the reason why, things are a little bit different over here in Poland than they are in Ireland, where we have practically completely destroyed faith in the Eucharist. In effect, if we look at what we have done over the last 50 years since communion on the hand was introduced the week Pope John Paul II came to Ireland. That was when Irish bishops do an examination of conscience as what has happened to the Irish Church since the visit of John Paul II when we introduced communion on the hand in Ireland. Has faith grown? Has faith increased? It's quite interesting. I was reading yesterday about the Eucharistic revival in America, and how the Archdiocese of Chicago doesn't want too much focus on adoration, or didn't want a Eucharistic procession. I don't know the ins and outs of what's going on, but spend time with our Lord, get to know him, and then give him to others. Go out to the world and give that message of hope to others. Christ is alive. There is more to your suffering and your pain than just this world, than just this reality. So I would ask Catholics in Ireland to don't lose the faith, to renew the Eucharist, because again, at the end of the day, what is Christ asking me to do? To return to the universal norm of the Roman Rite. He hasn't asked me to do any new spirituality, nothing strange, nothing that no new devotion, nothing new, actually, just to renew faith in him, to encounter him, to allow our kids to see our reverence for our Lord, so that our kids remember and they themselves pass that on to their kids. So it's as Cardinal Go, after my visit to Singapore, issued that letter to his priests saying, reminding them that communion on the tongue remains the universal norm of the Catholic Church, the Roman Rite, and John Paul II only ever gave communion as much as he could on the tongue. You were not allowed to receive on the hand in the Vatican. They made that clear. I received communion from St. John Paul II kneeling on the tongue. And if we don't respect our Lord that way, how are we ever going to have Eucharistic coherence and reverence and renewal in the Church? Anyway, I go on, I digress a bit, but Poland. Greetings from Kielce. This is the cathedral where I got married, Christmas Day 2000, to my wife Kinga, who's from this town. This is obviously the church here survived all of the different persecutions and stuff like this. Unlike the dissolution of the monasteries and all that that suffered in Ireland, there still remains beautiful churches here from centuries gone by, and this is a special place for me. There's a beautiful plaza down here where we had our reception, and there's various churches around here. Beautiful city. It's about two and a half times the size of Galway, so small city in Poland, but a very pretty big city compared to Irish standards. Anyway, God bless you. Take care. Bye bye.